Yeah, I think now we're online.
Right.
Yes. Hi. Hi, everyone. Let me just go back to Zoom. Yeah, I think now we are all online. Hi, everyone. My name is Stefan Frolov. This is NordSync online seminar number 8, the last one in 2025. And I'm very happy to have with me today two guests. It's a composer from Næss in Norway, August Næss Jørgensen, and one of the leaders, project leader from the Dextra Musica Foundation, Sparebankstiftelsen DNB, DNB. Many words. Maybe Eline, it's best you present yourself. Eline Moe Melgalvis, welcome. I will say in a couple of words for those of you who maybe joined us first time what we do here in NordSync online seminars. NordSync stands for Nordic synchronization, and that's the name of our little enterprise, and it represents what we're trying to do. We are trying to bring Nordic countries and the whole region closer together by connecting the artistic powers of the region, connecting musicians, different artists, their ideas in order to make projects together in arts. And online seminars is one of those places where we invite artists and people who work with arts and culture to talk about things they are inspired of, or they feel there are some problems, stuff like that. But today we'll start with our conversation with August, who is here not only because he's a fantastic musician and a composer, but also because we had the honor and happiness to receive his composition in our first open composers call in project The Missing Movement. Eller som vi kaller det på norska, ett verk, tre komponister är ett namn för projektet. The name for the project was actually one work, three composers, and that represents fully the idea of that project, which was to fulfill Mahler's unfinished piano quartet, because it has the original movement, which Mahler wrote, and then an attempt to write second movement, or successful attempt, one can say, by Alfred Schnittke in 1988. And then it was still too short to be performed on the concert, so we thought we need to complete that work, and therefore there was an open call for composers. And August, thank you. You were one of those who responded, and your work was chosen by the jury to be performed together with Mahler and Schnittke in January. Woo! Yes. Welcome, August. Can you take mic from me and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and yeah, tell us about your composition.
Yeah. My name is August, and I'm from Norway. I live a bit further north in Norway in a small town called Næss, which is really a small town. Beside the coastline, so we have like these beautiful summers and super harsh winters. So it sort of has its charm then. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself and where I come from and why things sound like they sound. So growing up in this small sort of village town in the middle of nowhere, you could say, it's as a child like a safe place. And I remember we don't take the bus, we don't kids just walking around the streets, and if you want to go to your friend, you just walk. Your parents don't drive you there, so you can knock on their door and say, hey, you want to build a snowman, or whatever. So and it's a really special place because you can like start in kindergarten and end up with your master degree. Um, it's
Pretty
because
cool.
we have, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like so we have like a university there, and I remember when I came to Næss, my both my mom and dad have been working in the university, and mom working with theater, and my dad was had a master degree in film science, later on in a doctor degree in philosophy, and so both, you know, if you're working with film or theater, music is a big part of that. Like, yeah, and a lot of their friends were like musicians in Nesna because there's a lot of musicians there, and so they were kind of like icons for me. So they were like a natural way to do music, and yeah, me and a couple of friends like made this. I remember we made this band called Red Revolution. Yeah, it was a punk rock band, heavily Green Day inspired, I would say. At that point, we were, yeah, they just came out with a like American Idiot and something, yeah, and we wanted to do what they did and make our own songs, and that's my first meeting with making or like composing music. This 3-chord punk rock kind of tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had no like knowledge of like music theory and notation and nothing of that. Just like what you hear, what you think sounds nice, and kind of wanted to get better to push myself. So I went to high school in Mosjøen to study music there and learn those things like notation, music theory, different genres, widening the horizon a bit to what music can be and all these different like impressions there is. And I think like one of the best things when you study music is you're always going to be in a class where there's this one brilliant guy, and this is probably not you, it's probably somebody else, and sort of like in a good way pushes you to want to get better as well because you get inspired by your classmates. So that was exactly the situation in Mosjøen as well, and because we pushed ourselves, we wanted to do more music and went to the university in Levanger, where we studied, and I think I was there for 7 years. I could have been done faster, but I didn't want to because they're so comfortable being in this bubble when you're a student and having, you know, all your classmates that are huge resources when it comes to making projects in music or yeah, stuff like that, and fantastic teachers. So I remember I stayed in that bubble as long as I could, and the year before I started on my master degree, I was doing music production and was starting working in studio, still just working like a freelance like musician, didn't compose anything really other than maybe producing something in the studio for a band. And then I got the job the year before my master degree to compose music for theater, and I was really like hesitating while should I do it or not, because it's very different from playing in a band, sort of like you're making music for something else than just yourself. It's like this multimedia kind of thing. So I was, yeah, but I said yes though, and brought with me one of my friends called Sindre Drogen, who's a great composer and great musician. And yeah, he's this. I think probably many musicians have this one friend where you can sit all night discussing like things like how do you notate this rhythm. Oh no, it has to not be noted like this, or no, it's more like a triplet feel, so you have to do it like this.
A proper
now
nerd friend.
yeah. And Sindre was just our friend, so we could buy like a 6-pack each of beer on a Friday night and just didn't drink any of it because we were so in this argument that no, you have to, you can't. It's 12-8. No, it's 4-4. Yeah, 6-6-8 wipes. Yeah. So great guy, and he was like, well, as I said, the one brilliant guy that pushed me to want to do more. So we starting doing that to make this music for this theater and this really creative bubble, working in studio, a lot of studio production. We didn't sit writing notes that much, probably a little bit, but mostly like working on sound designs, working in studio and tweaking like delays and reverbs and I think it went pretty well. So it had to go like sort of decent because there came more jobs afterwards. So it didn't go that terrible at least. So yeah. So more and more jobs come in and starting like to think, okay, this is kind of like a fun thing to do and maybe I should like deep dive into what is this like composing part. What do I get excited to hear? So start like obviously as you pointed out when we had a conversation, like in this piece of music I wrote, you said like it has like this cinematic or this film score vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
it has a lot.
Yeah, it has a lot of that. So I think that's a big secret. I really got fascinated with like Ramin Djawadi, who make the music for like big TV series like Game of Thrones and Westworld, which is amazing, simple themes that are very memorable, very like you could sing them like a pop song. And like Hans Zimmer with this huge sounds he makes, and I wanted like to figure out how do I don't want to be them, but how can I like this is what I like? How can I try to make things like them? So, and then I think if you like those composers, studio production is a huge part of that. Like working in a studio and using these digital tools. So I think I like changed my student budget to only noodles so I could buy Pro Tools license and a lot of plugins and starting like working in Pro Tools with all these tools, equalizers, compressors, reverbs, delays, and all these kind of things that like composers like Hans Zimmer uses to make this huge sound and working with sound design.
Is it true? I've heard that he can't even note. He can't note grammar. I've heard Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
Have you heard that too?
I heard he said that in the interview. I'm not sure I believe him. I
I'm
think it's
not sure either. I believe it, but they.
yeah, I heard it as well. I heard like, but I think he has like, I think there's a lot of people working with him to do these things, so he can do like play the fun piano part.
Yeah, maybe.
It. Yeah.
I don't know though. His orchestral scores are quite complicated to be able to suggest that he can't write notes. I really doubt it. But it's a good myth. Legend is great.
Yeah. And I think he was the one made that myth. I don't.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like he could be a good if you're from north in Norway, you're called nordlending, and people from Nordland, when they tell story, they add like 90% extra to the story. So I think Hans Zimmer would be a good nordlending if he lived in Norway.
That for sure.
Yeah, so so that's one part of what I was thinking was interesting is this huge sounds and sound designs. And like I said, like with Ramin Djawadi, this brilliant short themes that are like pop songs that are really simple. And I think like the first I have to sort of remake a scene for you, like a movie scene. Mm-hmm. That was important to me because, as I said, my dad has had his master degree in film. So when mom wasn't home, we were watching all these classical films. Like I was too young to watch, but mom wasn't there, so it was okay. Like Godfather and all of those. And I remember we were watching this old Western movie called Once Upon a Time in the West. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, but I've heard.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant movie. And it's this very iconic opening, and it's Morricone who made the music. Like I think he's made all the Western back then, probably. At least a lot. And there's this opening scene, and I think it's like 3 or 4 cowboys at the train station, and they're waiting for this train. Because on the train, there's this one guy that they are gonna bring down a bounty or something. And they're just standing around in different positions in that train station, waiting for the train to arrive. And I think it's like 10 minutes. You just watch them wait around, and there's no music, nothing. The only sounds are like this tiny fly flying around the head of one of those cowboys, annoying them. And the other one has this big hat, and there's water dripping, and it slowly fills. And yeah, that's all that's happening. And then the train comes, and it feels like this big moment because the trains make a lot of sounds. And nobody comes off the train, so they're thinking, yeah, well, he's not here, we better just go back home then. And as they turn away, you can hear this brilliant melody. It is super like minimalistic, like a couple of notes, long notes, played on the harmonica. And I was thinking when I watched that movie, like not as a child, but thinking back to it, like what Morricone did was put the right melody on the right instrument, played by the right person in that moment in time. And I thought that was kind of brilliant, to the eye of detail to make that scene so iconic. So like this minimalistic melody always appealed to me. So I think it's sort of in this too.
Yeah, it fits perfectly. I was very surprised. And of course, our audience, we are welcome to come to the premiere of that piece, which will happen on the week 4 in Fredrikstad, 25th of January. We're having premiere in the old church in the old town. Come and listen. But yeah, I definitely could hear a lot of influence by the film music. But it was very fun to see that you also quoted Mahler in the very beginning. So it's like as if Mahler was suddenly into that movie vibe. And it's very interesting because yesterday actually I ordered the sheet music for Schnittke, which is also not so easy to get apparently, because I mean he's not that old. It was written in '88, so it's still under the Rettighofs. It's still rights applied to that piece. So I had to find it, and there was a very nice prefix, a little introduction to that score. And it describes the story of how that piece was written by Schnittke. I don't know, guys, if you've heard about Schnittke. Is he that famous in Norway? I don't know. He was quite big in Russia, in Soviet Union, because there he comes from. But then he immigrated to Germany in '80s, I think. He is quite big in the classical musical world, at least.
Yeah.
And he's very famous for his like very specific language. It's very, in my head at least, it's very 20th century kind of sound of music. He wrote this famous Concerti Grossi, which like by historical context is historically that's a form that comes from like Baroque period, but he filled it with very new kind of sounds. And I think it reflects a lot on what humanity has survived or overlived since the Baroque. So it's the same idea that it's competing instruments, groups of instruments in the orchestra. But it's like, it's as if Bach has survived 2 world wars, you know. It's a little bit different feeling through the whole thing. Anyways, it's a lot of experiments there. It's very heavy stuff. It's very often atonal, moving in between tonalities, semitones, like weird stuff. sometimes. But when he himself, he was ordered that piece. So it's actually very similar to our idea, which is, I swear it's no plagiarism. I didn't read that story before. I just knew that there is an attempt to complete before, but I didn't know that it was ordered piece. So, and it was premiered in Kuhmo, which is very close here in Finland.
Yeah.
So it was a ordered piece by the festival in Kuhmo. I think one of the first editions of that festival, which is now very big and very famous. And it was performed there. And after it was published as a separate piece. So it's, I think, in the, it's not called Mahler's second movement. It's called Schnittke Piano Quartet number 1 or something like that. But everyone knows that it's a continuation. And I just thought that when Schnittke writes about that piece, so he writes that he was first attempting to kind of write a continuation of the Mahler's piece, because Mahler left some little excerpts of what he thought would be a theme for a second movement, which he was thinking would be a scherzo, which is also unusual. Classically, it should be a slow movement, but he chose to do a scherzo, which was quite unusual for his time. And but then Schnittke, when he worked on that, he said that he decided not to go that way because it was too unnatural, and he decided to write the piece as if Mahler kind of lived through his time, he thought. I don't know how much honest idea is that, or how much he was just adjusting the words to the final result he got, but it makes perfect sense. It's he uses the theme like you do, but it's nothing to do with Mahler, and it's very much Schnittke. And it's like a little bit the same you did. You used the quote on Mahler's first movement, which I don't know how you knew it. You do it in A minor, and that's perfect because Schnittke ends in dominant to A minor, which is very bizarre. I don't know how you... It's working perfectly right now. So A minor in the beginning, then suddenly Schnittke writes this thing, something like G small, G flat minor, some very weird key. Yeah. And then he leaves it on the dominant to A minor or A major, and then there you come. So it's like a very good cycle right now. And I'm very excited to hear how it's gonna work on stage.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I'm sorry for this little excursus into that piece. I'm just very much into making this right now, so I'm very excited, and I think it's going to be fun. It would be great to bring it to Nordland also.
Yeah, I had some, because since, like I said, Næss is a very small place, so when something cool happening with somebody, everybody is very proud of.
Yeah, I saw that comment field under your post. It was really exciting.
It was long. It was very long. And the paper called me the day afterwards as well.
Fantastic. Very good. I'm very happy.
So we're backing each other up. That's brilliant. So I had this one guy I worked with who's working with film making. He was visiting yesterday, and we drank coffee. And he said, you have to like play it here, though. So yeah, we'll see.
Easy peasy.
It will be cool.
We should really fix that. Eline, does it work the same way in Oslo? Are you people in Oslo backing each other as they do in Nordland?
I was just muting myself. It's not the same way.
No.
It's more fragmented.
More fragmented,
yeah. I think it's 5,000 concerts a year in Oslo, so it's.
Oh yes.
It's a busy job.
It's just an excuse, though.
Supporting all of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those greatest things in Nordland we have is that one is never alone when one has something to share. That's really great news. We really will do some research there about playing it there eventually in autumn, maybe. Something like that.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Would be good.
Actually.
Yes, but it's a great story about how you were born and studied in Næss and stuff. Could you say a couple of words about the work itself, about the process, how you composed it? It also has a dedication, right? And also a name. Yeah. Maybe you could say a couple of words about that.
I could definitely do that. So we have to start on a little bit of a dark kind of path there, though, because it's a bit weird situation, this whole thing with especially this composition, because this is the first piece I wrote after my dad passed us away a couple of months ago in August. Yeah. So it starts on this little bit of rough path, and I got this email a couple of months later and thought like I have to try to do this. I've been sitting home, not able to really find any joy in making music, so I was trying to work on this, and so that obviously like affects the whole like emotion part of the sound of the piece. But the way I wanted, like if we're moving a little further though to what's the like idea was when I was making it, but it's like you said, like there's it's taken like what is it 149 years since the first piece was wrote until this one. So I think that's pretty unique, because that's a lot of time, and music changed a lot since 149 years ago. So I think it was like a golden opportunity to start the same way as you said, like this piece starts as smaller piece does, and then after the bars run along, things would be different, and obviously, since I'm very fascinated with this movie cinematic universe, it has that approach to it. So, but the idea was to start the same way, and then it will just run freely to another path than the original. Yeah.
It's really cool. Was it first work for you, like in this purely classical genre, also for this setting? Violin, piano, cello, and viola.
I think obviously when we studied, we did a lot of it. I had this great teacher in Levanger, Barratt Moe, which you know.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Eline, do you know Barratt? He's actually now somewhere around Oslo, right?
Yeah, he's close there. Yeah.
He lives somewhere there, but yeah.
Yeah, he's and big icon for me. Like he's a great composer. He's done a lot of stuff, and so learned a lot from him. What were we talking about?
We were talking about if you've ever written anything for classical set.
Yeah. So obviously we did that there, but we didn't like do it like it was more for practice, sort of like. And obviously when I'm composing at home, I use a lot of violins and cellos and stuff like that as well. But then I record it myself on the piano and using sound libraries. So I would say this is, you could say it's the first like for professional musicians with like delivered notes score. Yes, then you could say this is the first one, I think.
Yeah, it was a very good first take.
Yeah.
Very playable. Very playable. No, but I mean, seriously, sometimes professional composers are writing such a mess, it's impossible to read. We string players, we appreciate actually less bowings if you don't know what the bowing in fact means. We can do it for you, and just don't do our stuff. But it was very, very good sense of measure in that. We fixed the rest. Yeah.
I'm not afraid to like admit things I don't know that much about. So if I'm thinking like, how would you do this on the violin? I think it would be like this, but I have like to call my friend in Rana Kulturskola.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah. To have a friend in Rana Kulturskola is the best.
Yeah.
That's how you solve the things. Yeah.
And I have 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I have this very cheap one that I bought. I tried to learn it, but I realized I'm not that.
Don't stop trying, August. It comes. It all comes.
It comes very, very slowly, though.
Yeah. Is there Is there a kulturskoletilbud in Nesna on violin? Is it possible to take lessons in Nesna?
I don't think they have piano teacher and singing, vocal, and guitar and flute, but I don't think they have a cello or violin now at this point.
We are going through some kind of serious crisis there in the north right now with the violin listening. Like there is nothing in Sandnessjön, and it seems like it's soon not going to be anything in Mo i Rana in violin as well. There are some serious cuts, and for some reason, I don't know if it's connected or not, it's all about violin teachers. It's very disturbing, very strange politics. I don't understand it. I don't know if you've heard about it. But yeah.
No, I like, and we just had downsizing where I work, and we probably gonna lose our violin teacher and co-worker, and
it's devastating.
It's devastating, really. It's it's rough when they're measuring numbers when it comes to like kids. Activities and their an arena to make kids like thinking human beings or being learning how to master something or feeling confident. So measuring that in money, it's really a shame.
Yeah. I sometimes just struggle to understand the logic, because very often I hear that argument that school has to bring the has to show the income. Is that really a thing for a cultural sector to be able to show income? Like,
I think that's very problematic, because most of the income that the green numbers that like cultural stuff produces, they aren't going on like the cultural budget. They are going on different other budgets like. Bolyst, or like
exactly.
People want to live in that town.
Of course.
And so I think it's very hard to measure that. If you're gonna watch like our budget, it's gonna be a red budget.
I mean, I could expect to hear such arguments in some very traditional right countries, but not in Norway, not here. It's a bit bizarre. Some things seem to be changing. It's sad. Yeah. But maybe it's a big subject for a long conversation. We can have another. There was this one thing I wanted to ask you also. You mentioned that your childhood was connected with a lot of movie classics and stuff like that. Can you recommend us a couple, those you think are the best when it comes to not only music but also like cinematography?
Well, like I said, this Once Upon a Time in the West, it's pretty brilliant, though. It's a perfect Western movie, and there's so many. I remember when I saw Godfather, it was also very iconic. The scene, like there's some great scene, like when you compose a movie scene, not only music, with the picture and everything. You seen Godfather?
No.
No, there's this. Yeah, I can't describe every scene. I will take up all the time, but yeah, there's definitely something there.
Godfather, it is tonight.
Yeah. Start with Godfather, and I can come up with different options later.
Very good. When it comes to movie music, do you have a favorites? You mentioned the composers, but maybe you have like a movie which you think like has the best soundtrack.
Well, it's like a little bit commercial to say, but like I remember when I first watched Game of Thrones, I didn't want to watch it at the time where everybody watched it, because
mainstream.
Boring. I was trying to be cool or something. But then I watched it, and I'm kind of glad I waited, because I had like a little bit more background to understand what's happening musically, and I thought that was kind of brilliant. Like it's so well thought through, like because there's a show with very many characters, and Ramin Djawadi is giving them this lead motive, and is slowly introducing them so it wouldn't be confusing. And I remember there's this one very, I think I don't remember the season. It's called Light of the Seven, and then I think they have been making a series for like 7 years or something, and they never used the piano ever in the show.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So, and it's this really sketchy scene where everything falls apart, and what's happening is just you hear the piano, and before nothing like in the scene shows to go wrong, you just understand right away in the first note on the piano, this is going down, this is going to hell, what's happening now. So yeah, I think it's all the way through that show, that music were just brilliant through the whole show. Yeah.
Great. Well, it's a great recommendations. We have our lists filled, and so maybe to round this conversation up, I know that you are now working in Mo i Rana Kulturskole, right?
Yeah. Part-time there and part-time freelancing.
And part-time freelancing. Can you say what's your favorite thing in the work you do, both freelance and teaching? Is there something you feel particularly happy about?
Yeah, I can start with Rana Kulturskole. Like we teach kids like how to play their instruments and their concert and master classes and stuff like that. But I think like the beauty of that job when you're working with kids, it's if I'm gonna like put them in 3 different categories. There's these kids wanting to become like great at their instruments. They are working really hard on that, and there's always this kid that doesn't know what they want, or maybe their parents wanted to play Ozzy Osbourne and they don't really want it. I don't know. And there is the other group that I think maybe they don't come there because of the instrument, or they come there because they can sit down with a grown-up for half an hour, and the grown-up doesn't know everything about them, like their home life and how it is in school, and they can just relax and talk to a biased, like human, no, not biased, but yeah, a guy that doesn't know them, and that helps them, like they feel comfortable and evolves, I think, in a good way.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that's the biggest.
And there you actually get to make a change. That's the most fascinating, right? I when I was working as a teacher, which was quite a bit, I was also thinking a lot about it. Like we think so much of a job and what's important, what's not, and then in the very end, what is it you're gonna remember of your life? It's actually the amount of other lives you manage to touch through your life, and that's what teachers do. You are there to be with that kid and help him with whatever you can. Not necessarily, as you said, playing the instrument, but some of them just require someone to listen or to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely there's like most moments when you're thinking about your job, you're thinking about this one student that probably made an impression because of something, and you're thinking like, I hope it works out for that person. So I think that's brilliant about that job.
It's great that you're mentioning that as some of the things you think are the best about the job, because I know many people who would say that, yeah, we don't want anything but our subject. It's maybe more usual for classical music world, though, that I know a couple of teachers, and I don't agree with their opinion, who are considering their job to be entirely, fagly. Like we are violinists, so we teach violin, period. I think that, of course, teachers work, especially at the school, it's more of everything in one package.
Yeah, I think, but I think it's a bit to do, I don't know, but like my dad worked with like leader for barnhagelærerutdanning. I don't know what you call it in English.
kindergarten schooling. No, kindergarten
yeah.
teachers.
And I remember all the talks we had, and he was very like on this point that the point is never to teach them necessarily the fagly or like
the professional stuff.
The professions there. It's to make thinking human beings. That's the goal. The other thing is just a byproduct product of it. So I have to quote him on one thing. I thought it was really funny. When he was in Østfold, actually, leading the kindergarten schooling there was this one student that I think he was struggling a bit, didn't pass his exam or something, and he had a talk with my dad, and he wasn't like worried how he took it a little bit for granted, this education. So he said like, oh, this kindergarten schooling isn't really rocket science, and Dad said, no, it's not that easy. I thought that was kind of brilliant.
That's a good one, yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. I think that's a great spot to run this little trip into Næss. Thank you so much, August. I hope you stay with us. We go further to Eline. And hi, Eline. Hi again. I was when August mentioned Mosjøen, I was just like back traveling in time, and I think that's the last time we actually met with you. We were on some kind of Dextra Musica trip, and we landed in Mosjøen instead of Mo i Rana. Do you remember that?
Don't remind me. Yeah, it happens.
That's the best story in my life, but it's not me to tell that story, of course. Well, anyways, it's very, very happy for us that you could join us on your weekend. Thank you so much. I know you have super busy days. First of all, what is it you do in Dextra? Can you tell us about your position there and what you guys do?
Yeah, you started with your background, August. I didn't come from classical music at all. I started at jazz club when I was 18. Mm-hmm. And then I worked a lot with like youth organizer projects. So I worked a lot with hip hop and death metal and everything that works inside a prison and for young people who has struggles to get sort of a sense of life. But then I by accident started teaching entrepreneurship at Barratt Due Institute of Music, and then I ended up in Dextra Musica. Who is one of the I shouldn't say it myself, but finest string collections of string instruments.
Yeah, you can definitely say that.
Or it's a nice collection, but we own 150 string instruments that we lend out to musicians, and they all the collection, the oldest instruments is from 1580. And the newest instruments was built
yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's almost yesterday. But so we have it's sort of it's a huge responsibility because it's instruments that were played by Bottesini, by Jacqueline Dupré, by Chrysler, by Rostropovich. So it's sort of literally a part of music history. And every musician that lends an instrument, they have to spend 5 days inspiring young musicians. So we have 150 instruments, and that creates like 750 days that we try to find a way to help music, the music life. But so my job is partly to take care of the collection, partly to organize. We create like 300 events a year in small and large productions. Some weeks ago, we actually filled it's an art center in Norway called Henny Onsdag, who always has worked a lot with music. So we worked together with them because they have a really, really nice exhibition now by a Norwegian photographer called Tom Sandberg. And he was really into music, all kind of post-punk and classical and everything. And he was the photographer of Henny Onsdag. So when John Cage was there, he photographed him and Xenakis and Penderecki, and he has made this like iconic pictures. So we were like, oh, but we have to fill the whole the whole museum with music. So John Cage has made a piece or a performance called Music Circus, that you sort of fill a venue in a large amount of time with every kind of music. So we had 80 musicians doing 120 concerts all over the museum, with the pictures in the studio, with video art at the toilets. I mean, everywhere. And it was truly magical. But we also have smaller concerts, like visiting a cultural school, giving a masterclass, and things. And we also are a subsidiary of the Savings Bank Foundation. So we're owned by a philanthropic foundation that invests in not only culture but also in sports and in nature and in like cultural heritage projects.
That's the
So
Sparebank part.
Sparebankstiftelsen,
Yeah.
yeah. Mostly because the foundation law says that you have to spend the money where it comes from. So our region is Østland, the eastern part of Norway. So we work mostly in, yeah, with we're not in the north that much, but we also try to, because a lot of we have a lot of projects that I was thinking about it when we introduced the NordSync ID, because we actually do a lot of Nordic projects. We have tried to create meeting space for Nordic teachers, like including methods, and we have I mean, we have stopped buying instruments now because 150 is sort of
enough.
no, but it's not regarding I mean, it's difficult to handle more than 150 musicians more, so to say. So we have stopped buying instruments, but then we have spent a lot of time trying to find out how to how could we support the music life besides the instruments, because I mean, we didn't buy them as an investment, like financial investment. We bought them to give value for the musicians and for the ensembles and for the all the young musicians.
But I mean,
but then, yeah. So we have tried also to work on other. See, okay, but how can we invest in Norwegian music life? So we have made this huge project called Dirigentløftet, or it's a conductors program. And in that sense, it, in a lot of ways, working with young musicians and with conductors, it makes more sense working in a Nordic perspective, because the market is Nordic. So we have made a lot of at the Henjonstad, we also made a Nordic wind orchestra. We have done a lot of projects with combining Nordic percussionists. We have also done, with the conductor program, worked with a sort of Nordic conductors forum, where we work with all the major orchestras in the Nordic countries. So it's a really, I think it's important to join forces. And it's actually, I mean, our countries are very similar, but also so different in the traditions and way of thinking and doing, and yeah.
I wanted just to, since I have traveled a while around the whole Europe and everything, and all this thing we do in Norway with DNB and Dextra Musica, it's quite unique, I had a feeling. I didn't meet any similar kind, I mean, there are similar programs, of course, but not on the same scale and not from a private bank. I have to, because DNB is a private bank, right?
No, but we are well, how's it said? We are a foundation who owns a part. It's nothing to do with the bank actually, but we own a part of the bank, and we use the outcome of our shares.
So there was like a. I was just always curious who is that person whose idea it was, who we all have to thank, because It sounds like an ingenious idea because you say it's not made for the sake of investment, but I'm pretty sure that investing into 300-year-old Stradivarius, which are only
Then
300.
you can thank the Norwegian cellist Øystein Birkeland.
Yeah. Okay.
He was sort of the father of this. It actually started in '94, I think, because he needed a cello himself because he played with the Norwegian chamber orchestra, and so then he got the bank at that time was called Sparebanken Nord, and they bought 4 instruments then, but it was sort of really unique because it was in the middle of the bank crisis, and it was like, but they did it, and then when the Savings Bank Foundation was founded, he came again and like, but we can do this for the Norwegian music life, and then it was a start. So it's literally all because of him. Yeah.
Great idea, but also bank doesn't lose anything. I'm pretty sure that the price of those instruments will only go up, and
they have doubled, yes.
Right. So it's like it's good for the bank. It's great for musicians. It's great for music life. I wonder why others don't do the same. Like I've been in Sweden quite a lot lately, and they are all like crazy. They think it's a state's money that are used for that, and it's not. And it's such a pity that that others don't take example from Norway in this.
Yeah, but there are in the Nordic countries at least. The Finnish have their cultural fund, who also have a collection, and in Denmark you have Augustinusfonden, who owns the Tivoli, who also has their own collection. In Sweden you have the Järnåker, but who has instruments, but it's not a bank or a savings bank foundation in the same way. But
yeah, exactly. Because I thought this Finnish variant you mentioned, Kulturfond, it's a states-funded one, isn't it?
No, it's actually it's private money.
Private money. Well, that's great then. Anyways, I just wanted to praise you guys because it's amazing model, and I think that it all works so fine as you described, because the musicians who are borrowing instruments from you, like, I don't know, Jørgensen of the latest, I guess, they are amazing musicians. They get fantastic instruments, and they also give 5 days to lift the Norwegian young culture, which is a fantastic deal.
And I think that's sort of the most important thing that we do is that we also have, we have funding. So that was why I wanted to say, but how to build the dream projects, because we also have to, we could literally build our dream projects, but we need to sort of make it matter. It needs to be of use. So that's I think the most important thing that we do, that we have a lot of musicians that we can challenge to create. We choose our musicians on the criteria that they need to be interested in innovation in the Norwegian music life, and that they want to contribute to creating new things. So that's sort of creating an arena for young and older musicians to sort of try to make other things happen, and for young musicians to learn the importance of contributing to the even younger musicians. It's, I think, for the future of music, given the politics and everything that's happening, we really need the conductors and musicians that take action and every day make music important for someone. We really need to make music more important in society, and we need to have musicians that not only play for their own sake, but sort of understand the mission that making music is, not only about playing at.
Oh, that sounds very much like our main goal. Because we
but it's not always we manage to like change something, but we have every year in Oslo we have this Oslo Kulturnatt, like a culture night that the municipality, it's like events all over Oslo.
Mhm.
Not 5,000, but but a lot of events. And we started for the last 5 years, I think, to gather different ensembles that sort of has a mission to be innovative. And we created a program or a project called Ligg og Lytt, lie and listen. So
Mhm.
each, like last year, we had almost 2,500 audiences that came to lie down and listen to classical music, like in 6 different venues. On the we're located in Oslo at a cultural house that we own, who called Central.
Mhm.
It was the largest bank in, no, not the largest.
Oh,
It
it's a
was the
beautiful
oldest
location.
bank
Mm.
building in Norway, and it's like 5 different venues, and it's a lot of cultural workers sitting there working.
Mm.
So it's so funny because there's so much people and they just lie down to listen to classical music. And we have sort of also working with really innovative sound and light and video art people. So it's sort of a whole experience. And it's really absurd because there's like young people, old people just lying down next to each other, almost up on each other because they want to like, this, the venue is filled now, but I want to experience this. And people just go in and sit
Fighting
on
for a
someone
spot.
else. Yeah.
That's the result we
it's
want. Yes.
yeah, it's truly funny. Yeah.
We had a guest a couple of weeks ago, Björk Guinevere.
Yeah, yeah.
Erik Islam. Maybe, she was describing a project very similar to that. Maybe that was with her. She's a pianist, does some
Yeah.
electronics as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was the one. Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful location, the Centralen. It's for how long is it Dextra's sin location, or it's many different offices there?
No, it's our venue.
Or,
But it's or the Savings Bank Foundation. But it's sort of, we have a instrument collection, we have an art collection, and then we have the Central, who is sort of yeah, spot for people to realize projects
yeah,
that needs
cool.
to be realized. Yeah.
Maybe a spot for Mother completed by August.
Yeah. Making dream projects happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sort of we always work under the concept that, I mean, the music life is an ecosystem, and everything you do sort of it has implications. So we sort of try to find ways to work together with creating things together with a lot of different organizations, and so that you it's then it becomes something more than if you just doing things yourself. So for example, in the conductors program, we work with all the, like, the cultural schools, the high schools, the all part of the school system, and all the organizations for choirs and orchestras and wind bands, and also all the professional orchestras. So, and together, it's not that much money, but it's just sort of like feeling that you have the same focus and the same mission, basically. So together, I think we create like 250 workshop days for conductors, from like amateur conductors, or not amateur conductors working with amateur ensembles and cultural schools, but also young professional conductors. So it's yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it's
fascinating
important to yeah.
to look at that work. I'm subscribed to your Instagram and I follow there. I'm in Dextra's.
We had actually yesterday, like sort of trying to have, like you did, like seminars that
Mhm.
we had for conductors, teachers,
Okay.
because it's a really young field. It's
Yes.
not since 97 that you started in a bachelor program for conducting, so it's sort of a short. But then to have teachers working with 10-year-olds and from the professors at academy in the same room discussing, and the professors at the academy like, But you know, when I was 10 years, I also got the possibility to, someone gave me that responsibility. And
Mm.
that's why I ended up as a conductor. So it's sort of like
Wow,
connecting the dots. Yeah.
fascinating. I mean, it's really impressive the insights you're doing in the conducting field. It's I can see being a little bit on the side of that there are circles going from that work Dextra does in conducting. It's very fascinating, really great stuff. Wanted to ask you a couple of just for our listeners who are not maybe so deep into the Norwegian culture stuff. This instrument sampling, is it only string instruments?
Yes.
It's only
Yes and yes. We have almost we have 60 historical instruments.
Mhm.
That's like up until 1850 or something, from 1580 to 1850. And then we have a collection that is lended out to professional musicians. And then we have a collection of modern built instruments, like from the best makers of our time, who is actually like the second golden age because the instruments are so good now.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say it because then we decrease the
There are
value of our historical
many who
but
say, yeah,
there's quite a lot of like blind testing when the modern instruments scores higher than the
done struts.
olders. Yeah. And that collection will lend out to musicians at the academy and at Barratt Due Institute of Music.
Yeah,
So
I
the
was one of them.
professional, yeah. And then we have a small also collection because it was like a puzzle because we lend a lot of instruments to musicians studying, but when they really need an instrument trying to get a job, then we didn't have one because it's or our historical collection are on loans, so it's not
Yeah.
that many instruments. So we made a small collection also, like 1900 instruments for musician establishing
Uh-huh.
that you can loan for 5 years.
That's cool.
But then we also but we are in Norway, and we have a huge collection of the European cultural heritage, but we didn't have any Norwegian instruments. So we also made a collection of the Norwegian hardingfele.
Mhm.
So we have 30 folk instruments also. I mean, it's our heritage, so
And
we really.
that's again for
So
those.
from Ole Bull's hardingfele until
Yeah.
from the best makers of today. But
Hardenfell.
you say, yeah, you said string instruments. We actually also have in that collection we have three langeleikir,
Okay,
which
what
I'm
is
not
that?
sure. It's sort of you. It's a string instrument, but you don't play with a bow. It's on the table, and yeah.
Okay. I've seen that. I've seen
Together with
that
good fun, you
in the
should
school. Yeah.
listen to
I
langeleik. Yeah.
encourage everyone who doesn't know what Hardenfelle is to Google it. It's Hardenfelle or Hardanger fiddle. It's a very beautiful, very unique instrument. It's sort of a violin, but with 8 strings and a line and the head of a dragon. Fantastic
Yeah.
instrument.
I mean, actually, some years or last year, we did a project at Festspillene, and we made one of the finest Norwegian players is called Anne Hytta,
Mm.
and she actually made a commission piece for Hardanger fiddle and brass quintet, which was amazing. The sort of metallic sound in the Hardanger fiddle, and it was. It's. I think you can find it live.
That's maybe the way we find a Hardanger fiddle player. We are planning a concert in
Okay.
June. And Bodvar Moe is writing a suite for nyckelharpa, Hardenfelle, and a string orchestra.
Yeah.
And we got already supported by the Norwegian Composers Fund for that
Yeah.
work. And we are having some ideas for very good solo. So the idea is that it's friendship between Norway and Sweden.
Yeah.
That's why we mix two
Yeah.
folk
Interesting.
traditions. So we have a very, very famous nyckelharpist. I can't say right now who it will be
No.
from the Swedish side. And then we are looking for someone on Hardenfelle from Norway.
Yeah.
and
Let's
we're
do.
gonna
Yeah.
premiere that in Umeå in June, and then in Mo i Rana in October, and maybe we should do it in Oslo. Finally,
Yeah. Let's see.
we can
The
talk about
only
it later.
problem that we have, I mean, we have a lot of our Hardanger players that compose own music, like Alan Apneset, Anahita,
That's perfectly fine because we could.
we have had some projects
Mm,
where other composers has written for Hardangerfjellet, and it didn't
it didn't work.
really work that well because
Yeah,
there was at least not Norwegian composers trying to
yeah, they don't
understand,
know.
because it's sort of uh,
It's
the
not the
player like this
same
is
tuning.
impossible to.
Yeah, especially if it's like a traditional troll stemning, it's really
Yeah.
a messed up head exercise. But Bodvar, he knows this stuff. He's fantastic about
Okay,
it. And also
that's
the whole idea with this
looking
composition
forward
he
to hear.
does
Yeah.
is that he composes only 20 minutes, tutti stuff. And the idea is that then those two musicians who are a soloist, Hardenfeld and Nyckelharpa, they improvise in between. So that's the whole kind of fusion idea there, that they kind of come and they do a little duo stuff in between all the time, like cadenzas in a classical concerto. And then the orchestra joins only for small tutti intermediates in between. So they will have plenty of opportunities to compose themselves, the Hardenfeld player and Nyckelharpa. So it can be very, very cool. I will write you some details later. It's just thought about
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm thinking about it a lot lately. Yeah. So it's only string instruments plus those folk music instruments you're having in the collection, and
Yes.
it's 150, and you are not buying anymore because it's enough. And
Yeah, but I mean, at the time we're not buying, but if
yeah,
yeah, you never know.
you
You
never know.
can't say never ever, because then some masterpiece
I,
comes up.
I was always curious, and I'm sorry if it's a little bit. I'm sorry in front of our audience there, but it's a string player, luxurious opportunity to ask those questions. I was always curious, how does the process of obtaining of an instrument of, like, for example, this latest cello, which, as you mentioned, was Rostropovich's in cello. How
Yeah,
does the foundation obtain such? Is it like some kind of private contacts, or it's on an auction somewhere? How do you get that
yeah,
instrument?
yeah. Normally uh, we didn't buy that much instruments on auctions.
Mm.
Um, but we had advisors who sort of we uh, put out, okay, but now we need two violas,
Mm.
and then our advisors found found
Like a
okay, but this is his best for from private sales, like found
headhunters, but for
10.
instruments.
Yeah, yeah, actually. And then we always have trials in a concert hall, and also in a smaller room to sort of see the difference. And we always have this, almost always have the same musicians trying them. So Henning Kragerud has tried all our violins and violas, and
Mm. Fantastic.
we have some different shows and double bass players, but we always try them with piano and a sort of, yeah. And it's a blind and sort of a jury, and it's no one knows the price or the maker.
So
So it's
you.
sort of based on, I mean, it's based on two criteria. It's like the technical condition, because it's a collection, so it needs to be
Yeah.
mint state. But also, we don't buy them to put them
Yeah.
in cases to show off. But so it needs to be also like the best
Playable.
sound quality. Yeah, and
So it's not enough for a
nice to
viola
play.
just
Yeah,
to have a great provenance. It's not enough that it was owned by Rostropovich and it's made by whatever Stradivarius. It has to
yeah,
also perform best. That's what
yeah.
you're saying.
So, but actually, the Rostropovich cello we bought on an action in an auction.
Yeah.
So it was a surreal thing, because I mean, then we have sort of a limit that how high we can go.
Mm.
And I was so nervous because I was in London at this auction, and I didn't dare to have the sign like because so my boss had the
Was it the
It was nice.
Sotheby's or which?
Yeah, it was at Sotheby's, and then because they were selling. It was the second auction of Rostropovich and his wife's estate. So it was like all kind of like Rostropovich light candle things and like all these bowls and Russian
Stuff, yeah.
things that was the sort of and people were like crazy. They was like, okay, it's a Rostropovich salad bowl in crystal, and it was like it went like 20 times
The price.
the
Yeah.
price, and I was like, oh no. I was. It was like 1 hour of these bizarre objects that were sold, uh, and then this cello came, and then it's like 1 minute it was over because there was not that many who
No.
was bidding on it.
How much was it? Is it secret information? I don't know. It's
No, we never talk about the price.
Okay, fuck.
Actually, but that's out of safety for our players so that they
I
don't
see.
walk with
Yeah. But so the auction wasn't public then.
It was public, yeah, of
Okay.
course, but it was like in a minute, and then
Okay.
it was ours. And I was like,
Mm. Fantastic.
and now if you want to hear it, you can. It's played by Amalie Stalheim, and she is giving concerts all over
Yes.
the Nordic countries, and it's an amazing show. He always Rostropovich always, because when he had to flee or he moved, he had to he won in a competition a cello that was supposed to be a Guadagnini, but he had to leave it. So he always in his whole life he wanted a Guadagnini cello, and in his later days he bought it, and it was so fun because he paid it in cash.
A very Russian style, I have to say. Yeah, that's a great story.
So we don't pay in cash, but
Did you have like actual sites you were putting up on the auction?
yeah, but I didn't. I was afraid that I would just buying something else. But it was fun to experience.
Was it the only time you were on the auction buying instruments?
That's the only time I bought an auction. The other times it's been to private.
Well, that's fascinating experience.
But we buy because we also have an art collection, and all the pictures are bought in auctions. It's sort of then it's really fluent, or it's transparent. That's the word I was looking for.
Transparent.
It's sort of that it's the market price.
Yeah.
Because it basically is.
Yeah, very interesting. Could you tell us a little bit about the project? I know that Dextra Musica works a lot with youth, and you invest a lot of time and energy and money into different youth projects with kids. You mentioned a little bit about Dirigentslöft, and maybe there are some other projects for performers.
Yeah, we're trying now because we sort of has this pyramid. I mean, our musicians are at the top of the pyramid, but that we also work with projects. I mean, we support a lot of trumpets and violins and 2 cultural schools, and we also support a lot of our musicians are visiting a lot of cultural schools, doing dream projects and a lot of different things. Also for teachers, we had last week we did this projects for all the string players at Oslo Cultural School, like playing it together, and with one of Barratt Kardas, who is one of our musicians. But we have I would say a huge variety of different sort of masterclasses and concerts where we have soloists and young musicians coming to orchestras, sort of a extreme makeover.
So it's all under the same umbrella of Dream Concerts. It's like it's a project in itself. Is it open for everyone to participate, or who can apply for those? Is it for schools or?
No, and we work with a huge variety of schools and organizations, and so you can just contact us, but it's a matter of timing, because it's a huge puzzle to and the time of the year that we
Exactly.
make our logistics.
And then as far as I remember, because I was once upon a time a part of those concerts, you were not only helping with finances, but you mostly help with musicians. You actually send
Of course,
send the
we
Dextra
send our
musicians who
Yep.
can then support the projects, which is a great way of actually spreading culture throughout the country, because they travel.
And now we also try to we're doing a projects for the years to come, also trying to make more outreach concerts with musicians establishing. So we're trying to see how we can make a difference also in connecting newly educated musicians to see the value of or understand how the music life works, basically.
I apologize for that noise. It's just once a day, and it has to be at 1 hour when I work. They have to be collecting the glass. That happens. Maybe it's a very general question, but it's always very interesting to hear. Do you remember the project you were at that current work you were most happy of? Which made you personally the happiest person? Some project or a moment, maybe?
Yeah, it's for me. It's all about making those moments when time stands still and everything makes sense, sort of, and that could be at a school orchestra, or it could be with Janine Jansen. It really doesn't matter.
Can you choose two? We are interested about details.
No. I really, I would say then one of the first, but that's sort of also in the prospect of learning to make things. One of the first projects, or the first larger project that I did, was in, I think it was 99, 2000. Then I had this jazz club, and I was having this idea that I really wanted to make a production. There was a jazz band called Krøyt at the time, who was working like with all these sound effects and video art, and it was really like innovative. And then I combined that. We made large commission pieces, combined them with the Norwegian string quartet Vertavo, who was like regional musicians from the place where I have, and we spent a lot of time like applying for money, and then they played at Rockefeller and in different places in Norway, and in 2000 I was feeling like this is kind of innovative, like video art and jazz and classical. But the funny thing is that still today I would call it like innovative. And it's like almost 30 years.
Yeah, because innovative with a state of mind. It's not necessarily what it was. Yeah, I get it perfectly.
So that was sort of, yeah. But I can't choose to actually, but it's about when you see like working also a lot with young organizer, with young musicians, when it's sort of like the moment when you see that the light in the eyes turn on, that someone get empowered and like find something that they're meant to do. That's the most, makes me the most happy.
Very good. And one more.
And that's not about the glamour, and like I could work only with professional musicians and creating like high art things, but it's about also making making something, like you said, that that's how to create things that makes a difference for someone else.
Yeah, that touches souls. Yeah. Could you name one or two like moments when
makers?
That I'm very interested about too, of course, but that's yeah. No, I wanted to ask if there was a concert or a performance experience which you could name of the latest you were to attend. Some concert you were very happy at, which you really enjoyed and really liked. Doesn't matter if it's connected with work or it was
No.
outside.
I can easily say because on Monday I went to. There's a new concert series who had its first concert at Monday, called Fryd og Gammen, which is for musicians Elise Båtnes, who is the concert master of the Oslo Phil, Henning Landås, Berit Kardas, and Bjørg Louis, and a jazz musician called Iver Kardas, also the son of Berit, has made this concert series that's all about creating. It's new settings, and they have like invited children to draw. There will be poems. There will be. It's at a small club scene where it's also a jazz club called Café Teatre. And then it was like surreal to hear Christian Ille Hadland played Beethoven's third piano concerto with the string quintet, and it was in that it was just like so alive, and so they will also have concerts in this spring. So if you're close by, you should check it out because it's all about musicians trying to create that curious, playful state of mind that made them musicians.
Yeah, that sounds
because
wonderful.
I really think about creating your own dream projects. It's about also to, I mean, it's a muscle or of imagination that you need to work. It's you need to have it work on it regularly to sort of also, I think, working with so many musicians in such a huge variety of time in their life. It's the most important thing I've learned is it's all about energy and that you sort of can keep your energy, and how you in Norwegian we say indre flamme. I'm not sure what
Inner fire.
Yeah,
Something.
but how you sort of keep that alive, and that's not. It's difficult working with young musicians, establishing and composers, and I mean it's a scary world, and it's really difficult to establish, and how to sort of. It's a lot of you need money, you need to just take whatever you can to put food on the table, but also how you nurture that artistic flame, and how you keep your passion alive. Also, if you get a job in an orchestra or at a cultural school, and where it's sort of everything becomes routine. I'm lucky because I have never the same day. I can be in Mo i Rana or Mosjøen by mistake. I'm like, Mo is Mo.
Moo is moo. Yeah.
But not.
That was a very good crisis handling. What do you call it? Handling.
Yeah,
It was very good. Yeah. Well, I think my voice won't stand another half an hour, I'm afraid. It was really wonderful to have you both on NordSync. Unless we
I'm
forgot.
looking forward to listen to your composition.
Yeah.
Thank you. Me too.
That will be. We are all set for 2 concerts. I'm hoping to make a third one as well. There will be concert in Fredrikstad on 25th, in most likely Sarpsborg on 24th, and then we are working on Moss. That's January 2026. And it will be performed by me, violist from Sweden, and a pianist from Finland. So we are in our work trying to also, as I said earlier, connect musicians from the Nordic countries. And in this project, we're actually very lucky to have Sparebankstiftelsen to help us. They were very happy to step in, as far as I heard from them. And we are calling, and this will be a part of Østfold Kulturprogram, developed by NordSync and Østfold Musikkforening together. yes, I encourage everyone to follow us on Facebook and maybe visit our site because there we will update you on all the dates and coming projects. I want to thank you all for being with us today. Thank you, Eline. Thank you, August, for joining on weekend. I wish you all to stay frisk, healthy, and have a very good Christmas break soon. And I see you again next year.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.